Welcome to this PowerPoint presentation. I am sure that this will cover most of your questions and help you fulfill your role as the Disclosure Officer. During this 20-minute presentation, please feel free to pause at any time, as you may need to refer to the supporting documents that are embedded into the list here. You will need to refer to these documents during this presentation. Thank you for taking on the role of the Disclosure Officer. You will need to liaise closely with your church teams and leaders, as this is an essential and invaluable role in your church. In accordance with the House of Bishops guidelines, a disclosure and barring service check needs to be renewed every 5 years within the Canterbury Diocese. For a change of role, or for a new role involving children or vulnerable adults in your church, an enhanced disclosure needs to be requested by the incumbent or your PCC. They are asking you to start the checking process as part of the safer recruitment process. Please see your Church of England's Safer Recruitment Practice Guidance booklet. Your incumbent or PCC must have a copy of this too. Your role is to complete the DBS checking process by submitting an online application, ensuring the ID of the applicant, and storing this information. We will look at how to save data securely and what information you're allowed to keep in line with Gdpr later in this presentation, but if you're in any doubt, please contact me at the Safeguarding Office. Completing the DBS checking process. Please see suggested first DBS request email. You will need to tailor this email depending on the applicant's situation, and we will discuss how best to record and store applicant's role, user ID number and contact details later under GDPR section. The applicant has to complete the first part of their application, as they are the ones that are going to complete the legal declaration at the end. If an applicant has no access to a computer, tablet or even a mobile phone, then you can complete the application with them on a computer, but they have to be sitting right next to you. The applicant will need the necessary information to hand, listed in the ID documentary evidence sheet attached to this template email. The hyperlink takes the applicant straight to the online application form with APCS Limited. Only in a lockdown situation can you use this email. Again, you will need to tailor this email to suit the situation. You can accept scans or clear photos of documents sent to your mobile phone or home computer, but you must not store these. Delete them as soon as you have completed the checking stage. And please refer to the notes to support applications during lockdown. The applicant clicks on the hyperlink in their email, and this is the page where the applicant will type in their unique user ID number and create a password. The applicant then continues to complete the form. Please take time to look carefully at the following slides. Here they add their place of birth, nationality, email address and contact telephone numbers. And here they add their mother's maiden name, national insurance number, UK driving licence details and their passport details. This is where the applicant includes their addresses. They must provide all addresses that they have been living at for the past 5 years. There must be no gaps in dates, so overlapping is allowed. The month that they left one property must be the same as the month that they started living at a new property. The applicant needs to click on the Add this address blue key box for each address that they have lived at before they can proceed by clicking the next blue key box. At this point, the applicant has an opportunity to print out this page to double check the information that they have added in the previous pages. Please note here that if they are completing this application with you, this printed information needs to be given to the applicant or shredded once checked, as you're not allowed to keep it. GDPR regulations. This is the declaration page. Once the applicant clicks on the declaration blue box, they will not be able to go back to previous pages to amend or check anything. The screen following just gives confirmation of completion of the first stage of their DBS application. As you can see here, it's just to confirm that the DBS check has been submitted successfully. Ensuring ID of applicant. Once the applicant completes their part of the application, you, as the disclosure officer, will receive an email from APCS Limited confirming this and asking you to check their ID for the second stage of the application process. It will show the applicant's name and unique user number from your parish. The hyperlink shown on your email will take you directly to the checking pages for that particular applicant. Before you click on this hyperlink, this is an opportunity for you to contact the applicant via email or telephone asking to check their ID. This would be the normal email to send out or script to use. However, during a lockdown phase, you can use the email on the next slide, as the DBS department have issued this option as a temporary solution. So here's an example of the wording you can use during a lockdown situation. Obviously, you must change the wording to fit your situation and timescales. ID should be scanned by the applicant and sent to your email address. And once the ID check is completed, you'll need to delete these scanned documents from your mailbox. Do not store them. ID checking process. Of course, you need to be in a secure, safe area to check an applicant's ID. But this may be in your home or in a church office. Please think of your own safety when meeting up with anyone you don't know or trust. Make sure that there are other people around that are aware if you're meeting an applicant personally for the first time. Have a copy of your documentary evidence sheet handy with the applicant's scanned or original ID, and click on the hyperlink found on the applicant's APCS ID checking email. If you are checking ID through a video link, keep things confidential and remember not to have any family members around you, especially children, that should not be in view. Never send or forward the APCS Limited ID checking email to the applicant, as this will undermine the ability to confirm ID. Just to remind you, this is the hyperlink that you click on, and immediately this page will show on your screen. Check the ID provided by the applicant and only tick those boxes where the information is correct. The red arrow here points to a section that cannot be altered, but underneath it is a section marked Route 1, 2 and 3. Make sure that Route 1 box is selected unless you do not have the correct ID as specified in your documentary evidence sheet. You need to look at the links on our safeguarding web pages if you need information how to follow Route 2 and Route 3. Alternatively, contact me. I'm happy to help. This next section of the application I have outlined in red. Please refer to these supporting documents regarding eligibility. Appendix 7, Appendix 8 and Officer Roles Requiring DBS Checks. These guides are based on the above, showing the level of disclosure required, position applied for, workforce and regulated activity requirements. All of these documents are indicative and not exhaustive, as there will be local variations in approaches, titles and roles. Please refer to the Church of England website for more information regarding eligibility. You will see the link here. After you've had a good look at the eligibility guides, have a look at this slide here. It's obviously incorrect. Can you see why? You've obviously found the deliberate mistake. For an adult workforce application, the regulated activity for children cannot be ticked or requested. We've nearly come to the end of the checking process. All you have to do is add your name here where the red arrow shows as the evidence checker. You also need to include a contact telephone number. APCS Limited will need to contact you if they have any queries. Don't forget to tick this little box here to confirm that you have checked all of the ID provided by the applicant. The box here can be quite useful. You can note any changes here that the applicant may have made by mistake. You can put an amendment or an explanation here. You can even quote something from your guidance notes, particularly Appendix 7, to justify an enhanced check or a check with adult barring, for example. To complete, click the Yes boxes confirming eligibility. There is an option here to print. This will print the previous page and the page showing here. But remember, you're not allowed to store this information. Also, don't forget to click on the Submit button. Once submitted, a confirmation message will show. At this point, you just have to wait. Go and put the kettle on and make a cup of tea. The DBS certificate will be sent from the DBS office by post straight to the applicant's address, not to you and not to me. This can take 3 days or up to 6 weeks. May I take this opportunity to explain that if there were convictions, reprimands or warnings detailed on the applicant's DBS certificate, you won't know, as the certificate is obviously sent straight to the applicant. But APCS Limited do send an alert to me asking to view the certificate before enrolment. It's therefore my duty to contact the church warden or incumbent, who will proceed to ask the applicant directly to see the original DBS certificate. The Diocesan Safeguarding Advisors can assist to review the applicant's church roll and decide on the next appropriate step. This is why an applicant cannot be enrolled before the results of the DBS check have been confirmed and approved. If the applicant's DBS certificate has been lost in the post, let me know as soon as possible, and I can forward the DBS contact details for the applicant to request a new certificate to be issued. But this has to be done within 2 months. So if you haven't heard anything within 2 months, contact me directly. The DBS will not reprint a certificate other than on the request of the actual applicant. Okay, So now we're going to look at storing information in line with diocesan policy and GDPR. Here you'll see an example of an Excel sheet which I can send to you by email. Just let me know if you'd like it. You can store this information electronically or in a paper format, as you will only use it for DBS renewals or in regard to DBS applications and referrals. Both formats need to be kept securely password protected or locked in a secure filing cabinet. It is crucial that you refer to the section on GDPR regarding storing data on our Diocese of Canterbury website under Safeguarding Forms and Policies. To help you, the link is shown here. So here we are at the end of the presentation. Thank you for listening. Any questions? Please ask. You can send me an email and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I'm always happy to help. Bye-bye.